I'm here at the AXA training ground with Jordan Henderson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'm going to talk about the importance of Black History Month, what it allows us to discuss and highlight in terms of the Black community in not just in Liverpool but also in Britain, and the important role that sport plays in kind of highlighting some of the issues around not only Black history but the fight for equality that continues even till today. So Jordan, my name's Lawrence, very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Trent, good to meet you.
Nice to meet
I'm
you.
Lawrence. I was really interested in the role that you guys have played in really pushing forward the discussion about racial equality. And I just want to know, why were you so interested that you have made the commitment to kind of highlighting these issues?
Because it's something I believe that is right to do. You know, I think education is a big part of it. Well, been in situations where I've witnessed firsthand what it's like for my teammates or my friends to be racially abused, which isn't very nice. So obviously it's something that I'm passionate about. If I can try and help in any way, then I will, and I'll try that's all I've ever tried to do, and support my teammates. And yeah, like I said, we've been in some situations for England, especially where it hasn't been nice. But I think we've handled the situation really well. I think we've made huge strides forward over the last year or two. I think you can see that with the taking the knee before games and stuff. I think that's had a real positive impact in keeping the conversations going. That needs to happen. So it's something, of course, that I'm passionate about.
Footballers have a role to play within it. We have a huge platform these days. We're given opportunities that different generations haven't been given through social media, and having our own voice and putting our own words out there and be able to speak directly to people all over the world. You know, there's no real limitations for who we can speak to these days. So throughout the country, it's still a huge problem, and until that's kind of fixed, then it's difficult for us to look on a bigger scale. So I think that the problem definitely starts with education. I think that's without doubt the answer to all the problems. I think if you can stop it at source and at root, you know, children who are easily influenced and will kind of follow what they see and what they're told is right and wrong. Like Kendall said, you know, with the taking the knee, I think that's more for probably the younger generation. I think if someone's 40 years old and all they've known is racism and racism fine, it's hard to kind of break them out of that routine of feeling that it's okay. But if you've got a 5, 6-year-old who are seeing their idols taking the knee, standing for what they believe in, and being able to influence them at a young age and giving them the right messages that it isn't okay to be racist. You know, everyone's equal, everyone should be given an equal chance. If we can get that into the next generation as soon as possible, then hopefully the next generation is better than what it is today.
These are issues that we would more associate with politics, and I think that that's something that, you know, I'd love to hear your opinions on how you feel about whether or not you as sports people should be the role models for highlighting these really terrible issues that affect our society here in Britain and elsewhere.
If we're passionate about something and we feel it's something that we can have a positive effect on, then I don't see why we shouldn't be able to do that. You know, I think you look at people like Marcus, who's a prime example of that, and what he's done over the past year or two, probably Raheem similar, and what they've done and the positive change they've made. So the more people that do it, or the more athletes that do it, because we've got such a big reach and how big football is all over the world, and it can have a real positive change and a positive effect on the younger generation, as Trent said.
I mean, I think it's interesting as well from the perspective of you as an ally. You mentioned Marcus Rashford and obviously Raheem Sterling, two people who were black. You have got people who aren't black who are speaking out as well, which I think is a really important issue. And I'd like to know why, you know, why are you so passionate about this issue? A lot of people would say you didn't really have a reason to be.
Listen, I've got to be careful because I am white, and I actually, people could say, well, you don't know what it feels like to be racially abused, you know, so I understand that. But at the same time, I've got close friends of mine to see in which ways I can help and try and understand the history of it a lot more, because I am white and I can reach a different audience and make people more aware. So that's all I try to do, and try and help as much as I can, really.
The history of this city is it's been a diverse city for an awful long time. But I've seen that this city also does have some issues with racism. And I'm just wondering, how has growing up in Liverpool as a black Scouser shaped your opinions on some of the issues that you're highlighting through your activism?
Yeah, and you know, there's definitely certain areas within Liverpool that I was more tentative to go to. You know, I kind of knew that at a certain time of the day I wouldn't really go to there because it'd be dangerous for me and my brothers and that. But I've been quite lucky to grow up in a good community, you know, with equality. No, there wasn't many black kids around, but me and my brothers, and we had a few cousins that were local too, and we kind of looked out for each other, but we were never left out of stuff. We were never, segregated from anyone else. We always felt like we had equal opportunity. We were never looked down on.
The ability of you guys to kind of transcend your sport is also really important, because not everybody plays football.
No, yeah.
But you guys are still role models to people who might never think about, trying to make it to the Premier League.
It doesn't matter if you are a sports person or not, you're still faced with these problems in everyday life. It's not just because you play football you're going to be racially abused or not given the same opportunities. It happens in every walk of life, office jobs, getting on the bus, walking down the street. It's relevant to every single person. It's important not to just be stuck within the sports bubble, because it's bigger than just sport. We use our sport, like Hendo said, taking a knee, as a platform to transcend our sport. So, it is difficult, but I think the last 2-3 years have really highlighted the change that needs to happen.
Jordan, if you could encourage people to do anything to kind of, not only to highlight, the wrongs in our society as regards racism, but also to address some of the issues, what would you ask people if you could have a wish list?
Really, from our point of view, what we try to do is just shine a light on how we are as a group. You look at our dressing room, the different backgrounds, different cultures, different religions, but yet we all see each other as one, and we respect each other's cultures. We're just the same, and I think if we can sort of shine that light on the outside world, then the world would probably be a lot better place.
Jordan just mentioned how diversity in the dressing room is really, positive for you guys. How do you feel about that?
It's good for us, a lot of lads will try and learn certain words in different languages, learn the way of life, the different cultures. We have a big group of Brazilians that we all want to try and get to know how they live, their backgrounds. So everyone tries to learn off each other. A lot of questions get asked. People want to know why people believe in certain things, why they don't.
I think it's really interesting as well when we talk about diversity. And I'd love to know about some of the responses you've got from fans in relation to your activism, both on the pitch and off the pitch.
It's all been massively positive, to be honest. I think that's what everyone expected, and that's what's happened. The whole club, everyone who's part of the club, the fans, everyone really buys into the whole ethos and mentality of what we stand for. As one big community, doesn't matter where you're from. Football's a place should be a place to feel safe and feel like you've got a family there. And I think that's what we aim to do.
Liverpool have been massively supportive of all of the players. I've spoken to Billy Hogan in depth on certain things, especially the diversity code which the FA put in place recently. Billy's really involved in that and likes that, and hopefully the club will implement that over the next few years, which is a big change as well. So there's definitely things going on within the club as well, not only within the football, all the way up to through the club.
I'm just going to ask a question that I really want to know. How has the gaffer been with you over this type of stuff?
It's massively supportive. He's someone who probably the biggest voice within the club to send messages to the fans. He puts the right messages out there, which is important, and he's got a lot of people who believe in what he says, including all of us. So the messages have to transcend from us and from him into the wider population, and hopefully we have a lot of people that buy into that.
Growing up, I'm a lot older than you guys, but growing up, a great hero for me, even though I'm not a red nose, Howie Gale, and I think all the stick that he went through in the 80s, and then obviously what John Barnes went through, how much is that an inspiration to you guys who are living at a different time and playing at a different time, knowing the roles these individuals played and kind of paving the way?
Yeah, I think, there's been many players in the past where these problems were not addressed properly, and that people were allowed to abuse them sorts of players for the colour of the skin and things like that, which is obviously completely unacceptable. But back in them days, it was seen as being somewhat acceptable, and people wouldn't address that. But they are the ones that paved the way. They're the ones that had to fight through that. Obviously, incredibly tough to do so by doing it. But it's them kind of people that inspire you to keep going, keep working hard, and they're the ones that show that it's still possible. So it's a powerful movement right now. Back then it wasn't, but right now it is, and that's the change that we need. And hopefully, like I said earlier, the next generation, we won't need to be having these conversations, and racism will will be more of a thing of the past.
It's really important that people like yourselves, who do have such an influence on the younger generation particularly, really highlight the importance of addressing these issues. And so again, I'd like to both thank you so much for spending some time out your day to come and talk to me.
No,
Thank you very much.
no, thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.